Got a special guest joining the show here today, Trey Wallace, Outkick.com. He's a senior sports writer and does a lot of work in the Nashville area and here in East Tennessee as well. Trey, appreciate the time, man. How you doing?
I'm good. A little exhausted. That's about it. Working till 3:00 in the morning, preparing a story for chaos with the NCAA in Tennessee and Senior Bowl ongoing. A lot of stuff, man. It's never an off day, right?
Yeah. In this industry, you kind of know what you're signing up for. So I want to ask you about Joe Milton later in the appearance here, but kind of on that, man. It was Tuesday, little afternoon, I guess, and Sports Illustrated kind of broke the news that NCAA is investigating into Tennessee again. A couple hours later, Dante Plowman fires back. It's all about name, image, and likeness. Since then, you've had the attorney generals, for Virginia and for Tennessee, jointly filing a lawsuit. You've got senators speaking out, governors speaking out. What do you make of all this, man? It's a pretty big deal.
I think we had all kind of heard that the NCAA was kind of snooping around a little bit, asking about not just at Tennessee, but at other schools as well. Florida, we already know, Florida State. There's other schools out there that are being investigated right now. But when it came to Tennessee, and it came to, I think, the timeline of everything, like you kind of said, when it started with, okay, I think the NCAA was putting it out through their own sources in their own way. Okay, here's how we can get this story out there. Let's see how Tennessee responds. And the fact that Tennessee had a statement ready to go, and a long statement ready to go the day that they actually met with the enforcement staff, I think that says a lot. I think Tennessee knew going in, okay, this is what they're alleging that we did. So how can we get out in front of this? It's almost like a PR battle. And what we saw out of Tennessee was Donnie Plowman going scorched earth. And then it's like, in this lawsuit that came out, I've been working on this for over a month. So I know it's new to the public, not new to some of the folks behind the scenes and putting this together. Even Tennessee's legal counsel, the state attorney general is taking advice from the legal counsel and so forth. So I look at it as a huge day for college athletics, period. It's not just college football we're talking about. We're talking, basketball, baseball, women's basketball, track and field, you name it. So the fact that we got to this point, and the fact that it's the college athletics world is rallying behind Tennessee, which is crazy to even think of, I think that goes to show you how big a deal this really is. And they want the TRO enacted, temporary restraining order enacted the day before signing day in February. So this is all coming very, very quick, and I expect something to happen within the next 2 weeks regarding this.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I mean, it's Tennessee still at the time of this recording does not have a notice of allegations. That would kind of be the next thing to see,
Correct.
Which infractions, how many level 1, level 2, and all that. Tennessee's done the song and dance before, and I think everybody listening and watching this podcast here, this show, would agree that it's really neat to see the combined efforts and combating that PR war that you're kind of talking about. But I think everybody's more concerned in, hey, Trey, what's this mean for Tennessee right now? This could drag out. This could be a big thing for college football. But what does this mean for Nico Iamaleava and Tennessee in 2024?
I think this means that there's going to be some scrutiny surrounding the Tennessee football program in the athletic department. Yes, the lawsuit helps in a sense of public relations. It helped, but they still got moves to make with the lawsuit. For the time being, I don't think the reporting is stopping when it comes to Tennessee and what the NCAA is alleging that they did. The next step, you talked about it, notice of allegations is the next step. They have an informal notice of inquiry, Tennessee does right now, which lays out everything. And if you went back and you looked at Donnie Plowman's statement, you read it, she was telling you, or their legal counsel, whoever, they were telling you what the NCAA is alleging Tennessee did. You just had to read between the lines a little bit.
Yeah.
And so she figured out a way around it, which was smart. She laid out what the NCAA is saying. So I think the enforcement staff is going to continue coming after Tennessee. I would expect now that Tennessee, I don't know if embarrass is the right word, the NCAA, but clap back at them. I would expect the NCAA to move pretty quick when it comes to a notice of allegations in regard to this. Again, this is not new for the folks on campus at Tennessee. They've been interviewing players, the NCAA has, for months now. And we're not just talking about football either. So I look at it overall and I think, okay, what's the end game? The end game to me is the NCAA is going to try to get their flesh, but can they get their flesh before a court rules on this case? And also at the same time, is it going to be 3 months down the road, Eric, where we're sitting here trying to figure out, okay, what's the NCAA going to do? Well, wait a minute. We've got this over here, this court ruling. Now you got the NCAA on this side. It's just going to be a battle, man. And I think a lot of folks are prepared for it. And I would expect other schools in other states, maybe other states is the right way to put it, but through other schools to potentially join in on the lawsuit or at the same time file their own lawsuit against the NCAA, and this thing just stacks up.
Something you and I spoke about, the day before this recording when we were just chatting, on the phone. Talk about reading between the lines, and it certainly looks like the NCAA, one of those infractions is going to be a lack of institutional control. Tennessee was able to skirt away from a postseason bowl ban, this last time. And the way Donna Plowman kind of, put it out there, she's like, how in the world can you praise us, parade us around the country and say that we did everything correctly? This is how you should do it. But then say, essentially, there's a failure to monitor, a failure to lack of institutional control. Can Tennessee get by again unscathed if that is one of the level 1 infractions?
So that's the interesting topic out of all of this is,
yeah.
What was it, 6-7 months ago, Tennessee officials are in a hotel room, in Louisville? I think it was Louisville. I'm forgetting it right now. But they were sitting there hashing out the penalties of what they would be. And they skirted by the lack of institutional control. Now, is the NCAA, do they want to get embarrassed or have the runaround put on them and Tennessee somehow escapes a lack of institutional control again? I don't think so. I think the NCAA is out for blood when it comes to NIL. The problem is I don't know what kind of leg they have to stand on when it comes to different states, different rules and whatnot. But there could be a problem. I don't know. I've heard of boosters getting in trouble. You have to disassociate with boosters and whatnot. I don't know. This probably is the first time that I've seen the NCAA go after a school for what a collective allegedly did. And that's where this thing, to me, it's very interesting because how are they going to punish Tennessee for something that they allege Spire Sports Group did? And I'm not saying they did or they didn't do anything, but they're putting a third party out there. So that's the interesting part of this to me. And so the NCAA, if they are throwing lack of institutional control at Donnie Plowman and everybody that was in that meeting on Monday, you can bet they're going to try to see that through. Now, it all depends on, how much more evidence do they need? Do they have enough already? Can they throw that notice out there, which would be a really quick notice because, honestly, this investigation kind of got started about 4 or 5 months ago, which is not long after they agreed to the penalties in the first place.
Yeah.
So it's going to get very wild. I think you're going to see stuff from the NCAA. Prepare yourself, Tennessee fans. You're going to see stuff from the NCAA. That either two things: either A, they put out, or B, somebody puts out for them, and then Tennessee's going to have to respond. And I think Tennessee being open and willing to respond the way that they did on Monday, I think that they will every step of the way have a response for what's coming or what has already came out.
All right, Trey, I know I told you a time allotment, but I do have 3 questions, but we can hit these back to back to back. We can go quick here. 1, how confident should a Tennessee fan be that Tom Mars is representing Spire Sports Group? Okay. 2, is Tennessee going to have any type of – can Tennessee compete for championships, in your opinion, at this time? Things can change in 2024. And then lastly, tell me about Joe Milton down there at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, known Tom Mars for a while. The folks inside the Tennessee athletic department know Tom Mars.
Yeah.
Okay, like they have a relationship with Tom, and that goes back before the Pruitt days. So I think that Spire is in really good hands with Tom Mars, and the fact that if you go back and look when that announcement was made that Tom Mars is representing Spire, kind of lines up kind of perfectly when things started maybe hitting the fan a little bit for the collective. So I would say Tennessee fans should be excited that Tom Mars is handling this case. I would also say Tom Mars is not the only person that is handling this case for Tennessee. The Vols athletic staff have lawyers that have dealt with this before. They've represented other schools. So it's not just Tom Mars and his law firm by himself. So I think Tennessee's good on that part. I think that when it comes to what the future looks like, I think Tennessee is going to be just fine. I think a 9-3 record next year with Nico as a quarterback. Look at your offensive line. Look at your running backs. I love Dylan Sampson. I really do.
Yeah.
And you look at that receiving room. So I'm not even talking about the defensive part of this thing. So I think Tennessee's going to be fine. I think with the NCAA part of this, I wouldn't be surprised if they try some tomfoolery when it comes to Nico's potential eligibility. But I think Tennessee takes care of that. They can handle it. They can sue them, and they can file an injunction, whatnot, play this thing out for 3 years until
Yeah.
Nico's in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And your last question, Joe Milton. He looked good yesterday. He's going to take the field behind me while we're recording this here in about 15 minutes. And he was connecting on some passes yesterday. He was hitting downfield. It was weird. He's going to tear his ACL doing this, but he keeps doing these backflips after every great pass out here on the field. And
Yep.
it's true. I've seen him do it 1,000 times in Tennessee, but I'm like, okay, man, you can't be doing backflips out here in front of all these NFL personnel. You're gonna pop an Achilles or something like that. But I will say he's doing good. He's managing the offense. It'll be interesting to see him in a live game scenario on Saturday. He's not going to get a bunch of series. I mean, he might get 3 or 4 series. There's a bunch of quarterbacks on his roster, including Michael Pratt and Spencer Rattler. So it'll be very interesting to see how this plays out. But I think he's done a good job of talking to some NFL folks when it comes to interviews. I think he's done a good job on that part. And also, his length, his weight, his hand size, everything plays out for him. NFL caliber quarterback. We just have to see it transition to that, as we all have watched Tennessee over the last number of years, and with Joe Milton last year as the starter. So he's doing a good job here. He's got a couple more days left in Mobile, and then things will progress towards the combine and whatnot, the Tennessee's pro day. But he can sling it, man. I mean, we've always known he can sling it. He had some passes yesterday. I mean, they were zipping in there tight, and that's something that I've seen countless times. Eric, our biggest thing, and as you know, in covering the Vols on a daily basis, is got to be able to hit the 30 to 40-yard downfield throws on a consistent basis as well. So he's doing a good job.
This is the time for Joe Milton to show out, right? I mean, this is his time, and I think he's going to continue to, depending on what the rest of this week looks like, the pro day, the combine. I mean, it's there for the taking. He is very, again, he's not going to be drafted as high as Anthony Richardson, but there's a lot of those qualities that are similar in this situation.
He can help himself in the next 3 months. He really could.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what Tennessee was last year under Joe Milton, but they also didn't got a lot of help with the receiving corps. So it's different when you're running with 2s and 3s compared to the ones that you were working with, in the preseason. And then Brew goes down, and Brew was such a big factor for him. Kind of that savior point. Ramel Keaton kind of had an off year a little bit, so I think that he'll be fine. And I do think he makes a roster. It just all depends on what system maybe fits him the best.
Trey, really appreciate the time, man. I know you're pulling double duty as always, but you're down there in Mobile at the Senior Bowl, taking in all that, and you're covering this investigation. What else can we look forward to for you to be riding over at Outkick?
Yeah, a lot of stuff coming on Tennessee's lawsuit, state of Tennessee's lawsuut against the NCAA. We'll be tracking that over the next couple months. Senior Bowl coverage from Mobile as we continue to roll on, as you hear the buzzards go off behind us. And college basketball, college baseball. I'm excited for college baseball. I think we're 17 days away. I'm stoked. Thank goodness that I live in a town like Knoxville, where if I want to go scoot over and watch some top 10 baseball, all I got to do is drive about 8 minutes. So looking forward to it all, and a lot of great coverage coming to Outkick.
Trey, thanks so much for your time, man. Really appreciate it. Awesome stuff, and have fun down there.
I appreciate you, brother. Thank you, Eric.